101, I will call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Calabac.
Right here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Masajek. Here. Longzone.
Here.
Novick.
Here.
Pelletier here. Kuzo. Here. Sure. Okay, so first we have the approval of minutes. First we have the special board meeting for October 5th, 2018. Before we discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the special board meeting of October 5th, 2018.
I'll second.
Just wanted to make a note that when we went back to open session, it was not 9:11 p.m.
Yeah.
It was around 5:30ish.
Yeah, so that was, it says 9/11, and I think we was back to open session it was right before we adjourned, so I think it was 5:37 or 5:30, I'm not sure, And then also, want to note that Lyman was also not present.
Yeah.
So those answering roll calls, so Dr. Calumet, I was here, Barbara, Joanne was here, and then Carlotta and Lyman were not present.
I have them stuff, never mind.
Oh, I was.
And then you entered at 5:02.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So you don't sign it until I fix it, right?
Right, so we can approve as amended.
Okay.
Motion to approve as amended?
Okay. Roll call. Yeah. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Masajek,
Yes.
Longzone,
Yes.
Novick,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Kuzo,
Yes.
Calabac.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have the approval of minutes for the special board meeting executive session, October 5th, 2018.
I move we approve, et cetera. I don't think we need to repeat that, what you said.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Masajek? Oh, any discussion?
Any discussion? This one looked, okay, it was noted that when,
Carlotta, are you alive? I know, isn't that terrible? There's nothing, it sounds like.
actually,
Lungs.
I do have,
Wait a minute, this is.
the session adjournment, that was the special meeting, and on the bottom, Gonzalez and Puzo are saying that,
Oh, so they're not there.
and they weren't there.
Oh, we weren't there yet, that's why I'm confused,
Yeah.
I wasn't even there.
So we can again approve as amended for the
Okay, I'm adding that.
executive session. Just a couple bullet points.
Second. Second.
Second amendment.
Okay. Masajek,
Yes.
Longzone,
Yes.
Novick,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Kuzo,
Yes.
Calabac,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
There are amendments to both special board meeting minutes, the regular and the executive, that has to be corrected. Just
Okay.
what, just,
Yep.
and I have to run it and sign it.
Okay, no problem, yep.
Okay, so now we have approval of minutes for the regular board meeting, October 11th, 2018.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the regular, wait a minute, this says executive session.
We're at C, the regular at C.
Regular board meeting.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Don't have that one, so
Yeah, this is going to staple it.
That one, you're holding it.
I. You're holding
This is it.
This is the regular one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sorry. Make a motion to approve the
Second.
minutes of the regular board meeting on October 11th, 2018.
Received the primary.
Oh, what?
Now you can second.
Oh, excuse me. Just make sure you're
Too
awake.
many ponds, yes.
I will sleep tonight.
The only thing I was just noticing, do we need to have the times that we went into executive session on the minutes?
No, because they're indicated on the minutes for the executive
Okay, that's what
session.
I was thinking, I just wanted to double check, okay. Any other corrections or comments?
Monzon,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Kuzo? Yes. Calamay,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes. Okay, last one, approval of minutes for the executive session, October 11th, 2018. I make a motion to approve the executive session minutes for October 11th, 2018.
Second.
Okay. Novak,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Kuzo? Calamay,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Monzon,
Any comments, questions? Okay. So we have public comments, agenda items only. And budget. President's report, I do not have anything. Finance reports.
I want to start with the cash statement. It's always the best one. Yeah, the big print. I don't think nobody can read it. Any questions?
No comment.
I wish I had that much petty cash in my bank.
Yeah, we'll have to do it, another thing next month to get that out. They already took what we did. Was it last month that we did that thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
They already took it out, and
Yeah, I
it's
know,
in there
last
again.
month.
Yeah.
Is that the vending machine
Yeah.
mostly?
It's mostly from the vending machine.
that's awesome.
Nice, let's get a second one.
That's what Jeff was saying.
We could put wine,
Wine,
for the adults.
Adult only one?
Adults only one, wine and beer.
PMA, that's pretty much. The same.
The only thing that you may notice on the PMA report is the first line, the savings deposit account balance is 91,000 approximately. We had a 6-month CD mature in the last month, I think beginning of October actually, and I've chosen, since we're getting closer than a year, I want to make sure in case there's any, I need to pull that money out for any reason, I'm gonna have to. But once we start to get the tax monies in, probably in February, I'll reinvest that again. So that's why that's kind of
Just
more
cash.
liquid right now in case we should have
It's
to,
in the mattress.
we should have to access it, but I do not anticipate that will be the case. But that was a little bit different than previous ones.
Any questions on the income statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just said that the vending machine accounted for the high petty cash. And yet, it only brought in $960 this month, or last month.
There's other things that do that, that go in there,
Okay.
in addition to that, so,
You mean like fines and
Well, fines has a separate income line, but,
Mine
Yeah.
is 3,200.
and the thing is, when monies come in like that, we're not allowed to put them back in the revenue line. They actually have to go into like a petty cash or a miscellaneous
I see.
account. We could put them in the general operating fund, but we're not allowed to put them into a revenue line. So that's why we see that difference, that discrepancy.
Okay, I'm glad you understand.
Yeah, it's
Somebody should-
something, it has to do with public, accounting for public institutions. We're not allowed to put that in a separate revenue, or back into that revenue line. We can't add to that at this point. We have to put it into another account.
Mhm. Any more questions? Observations? The check register. The Northwest excavators, what did they excavate?
That was for the back stoop. We,
For
the staff
Oh,
entrance, the
the
stairs at the
stairs.
staff entrance, we
Okay.
widened it and brought the stairs out. And then also
Yeah.
for the concrete posts around the book drop. So,
Okay.
Just curious what was to the high schools?
Yeah.
West and North.
what?
2833.
2833 and 432.
On the top of page 3.
It's the yearbook.
It's for the yearbook.
Oh,
Doors done right.
Yeah, doors done right.
We had a door that was not closing. Our supply closet door upstairs wasn't cut right, and so we had to replace the door. And the door, the jamb and the door.
Upstairs?
Yeah.
You got it done right?
Yeah, it's done very nicely now, so
If
the
they had
door
a lot
had
of
kind of
money, it
been
better be.
jerry-rigged, and, like, some parts of it were shaved off, not very well, and so it kind of gave up the ghost and stopped closing altogether, so we had the whole thing replaced.
Is that part of the renovation? That door?
That was all, that's a door that had been there forever.
2825, Diane Blake, $100.
It's for a program.
Oh, she presented or something?
It's a representative, yeah. Most often, if there's an individual's name that's not a staff person, it's a program presenter.
Midwest Mechanical.
That's our HVAC contractor,
Okay.
so,
Ted Worthy,
is a book jobber.
they just seem new to me, I've never seen them.
No, we've been purchasing from them, not often, but regularly.
And
They sell books.
signature metal work.
What check number?
There's two of them, 2838, 2838 and 2846.
That is for the railings for the new staff entrance stairs.
Oh. okay.
The wrought iron railings had broken, actually, we had
Yeah, I
caution
know,
tape
because
around
I
them.
used to take them.
And so we had the railings replaced, so,
Okay.
yeah.
There's
And this
another-
was the cheapest option.
There's another one for doors done right, 2857. Did they count twice or something?
Yes, we've had a few different doors replaced.
It's the same amount, the two.
They're both the same?
No,
They're both-
250 on this one.
There's 1350 and 1350.
that was for the metal work.
Those were
Metal
the
work.
railings. There were two railings. The doors done right, it was 1515 and 250.
Oh, okay.
Charlie Claus,
I'm sorry?
2855, what's that? Charlie Claus.
A program presenter.
Oh,
Was he ready for Christmas already? What's Overdrive?
Is our e-resources, our e-content, My Media Mall, downloadable resources.
Oh,
downloadable books and audiobooks.
Okay. I'll never learn all that stuff. I think maybe I should go back to meeting with physical therapist so I can be better at my stuff.
Any other questions?
Thank you. At least I read them this time.
Oh, but we can discuss it.
Yes, I know.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports for October 2018. I know,
Right.
I was doing so good.
We need to get the motions out before the
I know.
discussion.
I know, I made sure to do it for the minutes, not for the financial.
Yeah, just all that law stuff.
Yes.
Here, yes. Kuzo? Yes. Callamay?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mason
Yes.
Monzone?
Yes.
Novick?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have anything for facilities or policy. Staff reports?
So a couple things beyond what was listed in, or what I covered in my director's report. I did actually mention my director's report. We received the total amount that we requested from Rails for grant money to offset some of the costs for joining CCS. So hopefully by the end of next week, we will have received 31,000, whatever the exact amount is. But so that was really nice. That was great.
Good job on the
So,
application.
yes.
Is that the full amount of what it's gonna cost more?
No, it'll cost more than that, but the grant doesn't cover everything, so
Right.
like we've got to, pay into a reserve fund, that kind of thing. But that offsets a fairly significant portion of it, so we were really pleased about that.
I'd like to thank Pam for doing a superb job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was
You're a good money raiser.
excited
Do
to
something for the
and
rest of us.
The other big thing that is not in my report is Dave Hesse, the head of maintenance facilities manager, is leaving us
Oh, no.
to take another job 12 minutes from his house.
Oh, that's nice.
So I completely get it.
Because he lives far out.
Yeah, he lives down south, so
Oh.
he
Oh,
will be
I
working
thought-
for a school district,
I thought he was gonna
managing
work
a
for
few
the
more
job.
people, different, 7 buildings, and a little bit more money as well, and again, very close to his house. So while we are very sorry to lose him, I completely understand that it's a great opportunity for him. So he will be with us through November 30th, that will be his last day, that's a Friday. But so he and I are working on revising his job description, and I'll be trying to post a job ad for that, if not tomorrow, early next week. And hopefully we'll get some good candidates for that. So Dave has also very graciously offered to remain on my speed dial should I have any questions about the building. But also come in and assist anyone that we would hire, just to kind of familiarize them with the building, because our building is so quirky.
It's special.
That's a nice way to
How
say
long has he been here, do you know?
it. He
Roughly?
started in May of 2015,
Okay.
so, yeah, so we, like I said, very sorry to lose him, but absolutely understand. It's a great opportunity for him, so.
Is there a way that he could orient a new person?
Yeah, he's offered to do that.
Yeah, because of the flukes in this
No, right.
building is,
Yeah.
you can't get it on paper.
Mhm. Yeah, so he's in the process of, making sure all of the, building-related contact information is updated. He's notifying all of our, regular vendors and stuff like that will be leaving. And he and I will be meeting, we meet frequently anyway, but, more regularly and more specifically to make sure that I'm as familiar with the building as I can be during, that interim period. So, so that's gonna be a big change for us, but
Well, please thank Dave from us for all his
I
work.
will do so. He'll probably be around it shortly because we're using we couldn't steam clean the carpets because of the village noise ordinances and stuff, so the company that we had originally thought could do that, they have another method of it. They sprinkle like a crystal cleaning compound on there. So they did some carpet on Tuesday night, and Dave was here for that, and they're coming back tonight, so I don't know if he'll be here by the time the meeting's over, but he'll be here tonight. But I will absolutely pass that on. And, but yeah, he, like I said, he's been very gracious about it and said, you know, whatever he can do to help. So, yeah. I don't think I have anything else to add to my director's report. But the CCS migration is going along. We had an all-day training today, kind of a train the trainer. So the department heads and I went to that today, and then training for other staff and various modules in cataloging, public services, that kind of thing will start next week. And we'll be doing that and starting data testing and some other things.
But they don't come here to train and test that.
They will not, they have a training facility set up in the CCS headquarters, so it's easy for staff to go there, and because we'll be sending small enough groups, they're able to do that. But, you know, we're also anticipating that we'll train some staff really extensively, who will then train our staff here, or like new staff and that kind of thing, so that's really starting to ramp up. CCS is great to work with, they're super excited to have us come on board, as are all of the other area CCS libraries. I mean, it's just really, we're continually surprised every time we go to meetings, we're so excited you're joining, so we're pretty excited about it, so, yeah, so, and that's all going smoothly. I think that's all I have to add.
And the new shelves and wires look great.
Yes, yeah, they really make a difference.
Yeah.
So.
Anything else on the director report? Well, corporate council, lead right into unfinished business.
So, done an official corporate council account report. Frank, as you know, is well aware of everything that's going on. I'm making sure that he's copied on everything. The sale of the 6200 building, I actually, shortly before I came down for the finance committee meeting, spoke with Ralph Chewinski, the village administrator from the board, from the village, and he gave me some more information about the timeline of how the zoning ordinances could potentially be changed, and assured me again that he does not anticipate any issues with this. He's basically told his staff to stop doing everything else and work on the zoning amendment, or the text amendment to the zoning ordinance, so that the November Plan Commission meets on November 19th. That's a regularly scheduled meeting. So that after that Plan Commission meeting, they will write up a report so that it's distributed to the village board members by the 21st of November, I believe, so that the board has it by the time that they have their second regularly scheduled meeting of the month, which is November 26th. So we had kind of missed a date there, so Ralph and I kind of finalized the timeline. So the first reading will be November 26th. There's one other thing I was going to say with my report, I'll try to do this. So the first reading of the text amendment will be November 26th, and then the second reading would be at the December 10th meeting. And so we anticipate that that text amendment will be approved at that December 10th meeting. So like I said, I just talked to Ralph about that, so I have not shared that with Brian or Frank yet. But I think I think that the buyer will find that much more amenable than waiting until January, because he had asked to push up the closing date out a little bit anyway. So he had originally wanted end of November, and he said, oh, how about before Thanksgiving? And that's when we kind of found out everything about the zoning. So I don't anticipate that if we say, you know, anytime after December 10th, I don't anticipate that it will be a huge deal for them. But like I said, I just found this out, finalized this timeline with Ralph. So, as I said, the village is very, very committed to helping make this happen for us. So I was very happy to get that call from Ralph today and have that chance to talk to him about that. So again, I remain cautiously optimistic that things will move along, with a slight little glitch. But yeah, so they're trying to approach, and I understand they're trying to approach some of the changes that they're making more holistically instead of doing it in bits and pieces, and I get that. So because there's other parcels of property that they're trying to address as well. So that's where we're at right now with that. I will, like I said, I'll let Frank and Brian know the updated timeline, and Frank has been working on, with the buyer to, he had given us a personal check for earnest money, and we're getting a cashier's check for the earnest money, that kind of thing. So Frank is working on that. So that's where we're at with that. So fingers crossed. Brian did also tell me that via an email that should this sale fall through, he does have other people that are interested in the property. That, of course, is all contingent on the zoning changes. But, like I said, fingers crossed that happens. I think it will. Ralph thinks it will as well. But, so, if something happens with this, we have some other options. But, like I said, I'm optimistic that this will work out.
Have the buyers taken up the offer to meet with the builder?
We haven't gotten that, we haven't had a chance to set that meeting up, and like I said, Ralph left me a voicemail message today. I was gone all day, and so I called him about 5:30, and we got this updated stuff happening. So, based on this, I don't know if we'll need to have that meeting, but we'll see. I mean, if the buyer wants to meet, we can still do that. This is some new information just today, so that's kind of where we're at. And like I said, Ralph said he wants the staff to focus on some of the zoning things so that we can move this forward. So they're very, very committed to helping us out with this as much as they can. So, that being said, if you know members of the village board, it wouldn't hurt to encourage them to
Vote.
right, approve some of those changes. But they seem very reasonable, the changes that I think
Yeah, I
that
don't
they're
think
suggesting.
that's a problem.
Yeah. So, but the administrative staff at the village has been instructed that this is a priority for them, so I was happy to hear that.
Mhm.
Thank you. New business, we have the teen volunteer policy.
So this, my apologies, I forgot to put this in the packets for you, but this is a new policy. We have not had a teen volunteer policy, as I mentioned earlier, before we actually were in session. So this has been reviewed by the Teen Services Librarian, James Facer, all of the adult services, Natalia, head of adult services, myself, and the department heads have all reviewed this. So these are our suggested changes. It mirrors very closely our adult volunteer policy, but there are a few different things. There's a couple different things. The age specific, we talk a little bit more about oversight of the teen volunteers. But the other big thing is that we won't accept court-ordered community service hours for teens. We do accept them for adults, but the teen court-ordered service, we've done it a couple times, it's been really problematic for us. And so James had requested that we step away from that for now until we can work out some other potential things. So those are the significant differences between this and our regular volunteer policy. So.
I had a couple of questions that maybe are silly, but are there teen volunteers?
Yes.
How many about it?
I don't know. Actually, in in the statistical report, it does show how many hours of volunteer work our teen and adult volunteers do.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't tell us how many, because it varies. Depending on
I'm
time of
sure.
year, we get more in the summer. They help out with summer reading in the youth services department a lot. We have fewer during the year because they're busy with school and other, other activities. But towards I think it's one of the last things, maybe. So here we go. Volunteer hours. Sorry.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah,
age
it's
or
less,
less, yeah.
Yeah, So,
It goes down during
Right.
school.
so we've got the volunteer hours. So far for the year, we've had 581 hours of teen volunteering,
Yes.
so.
One other, does it help increase the usage of the teens? Of the library, excuse me, I said that wrong. Does having the opportunity to volunteer help the usage of the teenagers' library itself? Is there
Like, is it worth them, the library taking them on? Where
yeah,
you're spending a lot of time instructing them, is it?
that's part of it, yeah.
No.
Okay.
You know, it's nice to have them, they help out. I think that where we get a lot of the volunteers are from kids that come into us regularly already. So,
Okay.
since we had every single study room and the teen room is lately filled with teenagers and.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yes, yesterday someone ordered a pizza and had it delivered here to the library. So we had to deal with that. Yeah.
We have a new policy to read next.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had already left for the day when that happened. Yeah, it was really, so we are seeing an increase. I mean, teens are using us. But what, I think it's probably the flip side where we often pull from the kids that are coming into us anyway. They see that we have the volunteer opportunities and so they want to
Well,
help out
that's
us out.
okay.
Mhm.
They may even become librarians one day.
Maybe.
Mhm. Just like all of us.
Oh, shoot, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the teen volunteer policy.
I'll second that. Should we discuss it?
Yeah.
No, sorry.
I'll keep nudging you.
I
TJ.
know. We did it. Roll call vote this one?
Yeah.
Puzo,
Yes.
Callahan,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Swanzone,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Here, yes.
Okay, per capita grant application, board education requirements.
So the per capita grant is due January 15th, I believe. If you look at the page from the CyberDrive Illinois site, we're looking at the FY 2019 requirements. And,
Which are we looking?
This one.
yeah, so what so these are you'll see the CyberDrive Illinois
You
page.
turned over too many. That's not it. Look at that calendar. Next one. There, no, that's rails.
Thank you.
It's, yeah. Anyway, so we're on FY 2019 requirements.
I'm not gonna read it.
The chapter review from this Serving Our Public Standards, I gave you. Those are really for the staff to review. The chapter that we're reviewing this year is the Public Services chapter on Reference and Reader's Advisory. The library does meet all of these standards already, but I just wanted to give you what we're looking at. So we do meet all of the standards as suggested by the Serving Our Public Standards. The trustees requirement, there's two different things that the trustees have to do for the per capita grant. You need to view a webinar, some online training thing on serving those with disabilities. I will email out links. There's several different things that you can do. I'll email out links. You can do that at your leisure if you want, and then just notify me that you've actually viewed something.
Oh, okay.
So, so just check your library email. Probably tomorrow or early next week, I should get that out to you. And then the other thing that you have to do for the per capita grant is review chapters 6 through 11 in the trustee fact file. I did not copy these for you because I believe all of you should have this book.
Somewhere.
So if not, let me know, but if you have the opportunity to please, it sounds like a lot, chapter 6 through 11, but it's really, it's maybe 25 pages or something like
It's also
that.
online too. It's also online too.
Yeah,
So I do have a few extra if someone needs one, but,
It's a PDF file.
so just if you could look that over, and we will review those more in depth in December. So that will be on the agenda again. But those are requirements that we have to indicate that we have fulfilled before we can complete the per capita grant application, which is that's the money that the state gives us just per head. And that was the one that this year, that for the past couple years, it did about $17,900. This year it went back up and we got 29,000, something like that. So we definitely don't want to lose out on that money. So like I said, just I'll outline that more in detail in the email that I send you, that will have the links to some various webinars that you can view.
And when is this due by June? You said
It's due by January 15th for us. And so the other report that was due within 60 days of the end of our fiscal year is the IPLA report, which is a report that we fill up to the Illinois State Library. There aren't the same trustee requirements, but just because we are on a calendar year, fiscal year, I end up having to do both those reports at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like I said, just watch for my email over the next few days and I'll outline what we need to do, but it will be on the agenda again for next month.
Recommendation to contract for outsourced cleaning services in 2019.
So after extensive discussions, Dave and I had agreed that one of the things that we wanted to do was to outsource our cleaning services. I think I mentioned a couple of times that, especially the year that we had, Gaka was out for a long time, Polo was out for a long time, and so keeping the building clean was difficult over that time. One of the ways that we could get around that is to actually outsource that cleaning. So we issued the RFP because that is higher. One of them came in, I think, under what the new RFP limit is, but we did want to do everything above board. So we issued an RFP, received 3 responses to our RFP for an annual contract for cleaning services. So they were very, the range in pricing was dramatic. We had one that was, excuse me, let me get this because I just about found it. So one was close to, what was this price tag? $42,000 for the year. One was, and my apologies here. Sorry, let me just get this. More. So best quality cleaning was one of the responses. Their annual cost would have been $52,380. And we had, in the RFP, we had indicated what we wanted done in each building, that kind of thing. We had another response from a company called OpenWorks, which gave us a price of, sorry. $43,200, so slightly less than the first one. And then Complete Cleaning Company gave us a response, or gave us a cost of of $34,000. So for 7 days, and these are all quotes for 7 days of cleaning every day. And
7 days?
7 days.
Oh.
Yeah.
did they go into detail on how they,
Oh yeah, there's this. This is
Are
the
they all pretty
proposal from
simple?
Complete Cleaning.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and the RFP, and we went through every single room and said what we wanted done in each room. It was a pretty extensive RFP, and they give us a very, detailed breakdown of what they do and the services they provide. So what Dave and I had anticipated we were going to do was to suggest to the board that we contract out, we outsource the cleaning of the building. Some advantages of that is that it's done every day. We don't have to, if someone's sick, if maintenance staff are sick, it doesn't impact the cleaning schedule at all. It minimizes liability for the library. What we anticipate doing in relation to this is changing some of the hours of the maintenance staff. We would be making some reduction in hours since a large part of what they're spending their time doing is cleaning, and so we would be removing that. And in the budget that I presented to the board and that was passed, I did plan for this. So we're recommending that we go forward, and even with Dave leaving, I probably won't make some of those staffing changes. I'll push that back a little bit until we have someone in place as the manager of that department, but we still would like to eventually do that. So after reviewing all of the proposals, we're recommending that we move forward with complete cleaning. They have the most library experience. They're at probably at least 10 other libraries. I actually worked with them and contracted out with them when I was at the Carroll Stream Public Library, and they are still at Carroll Stream, so Carroll Stream has been very happy with them. We've checked other references and people have been very happy with them, and they're significantly less than the other two. So we are asking the board to allow us to move forward with that for the contract would start January 1 of 2019.
When do they do this cleaning? I mean,
It
during?
would be at night.
Just at night, so that, okay.
Is there anybody from the library here at the same time there, so?
No, and so part of the RFP, they had to provide certificates of insurance and everything like that, so.
So
Yeah.
they would come in after the library
Yes.
closes?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, so they would not do anything during the day,
okay.
so, and that's typical.
Yeah, no, I was wanting to make sure that they don't, because
Yeah.
that could be a
Yeah,
hazard.
yeah, no, it's in the
So
evenings.
even on a day that you're closed or have an all-day meeting and the library's at halves, whatever, not functioning as well, they'd still be here cleaning that
Mhm.
night.
Yeah, and that's for a 7 day. Now, we do have the option if we wanted to go to 5 days, but because we're open 7 days, it makes
Well,
more
what
sense.
about
to
like
do.
holidays when the library is not open?
We give them the list of holidays, so those days they don't clean.
Oh,
Like if,
okay.
Christmas Day, for example, no one's here,
Right.
there's no, but there's no one here to make the building dirty, so those days they don't clean. The days that were actually closed for a holiday. Days that were closed for, say, a staff-in service, they would still come in that evening to clean.
How does
Okay.
this cost compare to what we currently pay for in-house?
For staff. This would actually be less, once we make some adjustments to schedules and stuff, this actually ends up being less.
Who provides their supplies?
They supply some, it's included as part of the cost. Things that are kind of above and beyond the norm, or if we want something special, we would have to supply that. But they have, in each of the proposals, they have really extensive supply lists. And then, so they tell you what's included in each of those, and then they also tell you what would be extra, if you wanted to do extra.
Would they be available if for some reason there's extra events and some kind of event that we might have, which would take it later in the night, would they be available? And that made no sense.
Well, as it is, they usually don't come until after 10, just regularly.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, there should be.
however, they all do provide, like, if, for example, we want to have the carpets cleaned, they would provide that service. It's an extra charge.
Yeah.
It's one of the services that they
Understandable.
provide. But typically, they don't even come to the library till people have been gone for a while. So, I mean, unless, we're doing some kind of event where it's, spend the night in the library kind of thing.
Right.
Most of our programming is done by 10 o'clock at the latest.
Okay.
Now, do you want to, a motion to approve their proposal?
Yes.
Okay, so it's complete cleaning,
Mhm.
and it was 30,
In the amount of 34,400.
if there was something, it was, yeah, I saw something on your calculators.
34.
440, right now, okay. So, okay, I will make a motion to approve the complete cleaning proposal, cleaning service? Is that
Complete cleaning company.
Okay, the proposal from the complete cleaning company, for $34,440.
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
She already said.
I'll third it.
Do we have to say anything like for 2019 here or in there?
It probably wouldn't hurt.
Starting on January 1st,
Yeah.
2019.
Okay. Calabac,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mesa Jack,
Yes.
Lonzo,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Halsey, Hugo. That's exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's-
will be a good change for us, but I think that it,
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you ain't read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have director review.
So I distributed to each of you the director review form. Emily and I have been emailing just briefly about this, and I have suggested that because we're a little bit behind, that we push the director review out 1 month. I have not had the opportunity to complete my self-evaluation and some salary information that Emily had requested from me, so, if you want to say anything.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
want to do this, or how you want to.
I just think, you know, even if everyone kind of looks at that time frame, you know, yeah, we are already just like a month behind. And just with the holidays coming up, and I know we all want to be able to, you know, be thoughtful and think about the evaluation and everything, and so that way no one feels rushed. And as long as it doesn't screw you up, if, you know, so we'll just basically, we can still kind of use this as our guide, we'll just kind of move everything a month back, so now we're in sort of November, but so basically up to October, we have distributed our evaluation forms, and then, so by the 4th, okay, when do we want the evaluations back, is the fourth Thursday?
So some of it just depends on, so I plan on having my kind of self-evaluation, you know, my progress towards the goals that I outlined last year, some salary information, that kind of thing, the things that I typically do. I plan to have those to Emily by early next week.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
So we're still in November with what you're giving.
So basically, I'm not doing that, kind of just go over your shoulder, I'm sorry.
29.
Okay, we're doing this right now, right?
Right, so just that would be November, and then if by the 4th Thursday, which is actually Thanksgiving, but.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, you know, it's a lot to get, you know, get these in, and then the executive committee meet, and all that before the next meeting, which is December
10th or 13th.
13th. You know?
Right.
That's why I was, you know, we just push everything back a month. So we can still say, like, maybe everyone have these, which will be submitted in a sealed envelope November 29th. Does that make more sense? The Thursday after Thanksgiving?
Sure.
Oh, Thursday after things, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday, thanks.
Okay.
So when you return them, I know in the past, if you just want to return them to Blanche, and that way I don't see them, and then we'll make sure that Emily gets them.
29.
And then, like I said, I will send all of my kind of self-evaluation stuff to Emily, and she can share that with them, or I can send it to everyone, or whoever you want to break that, Emily, just let me know.
Yeah. Does everyone feel that that's, you know, they can get these back in? And then Carlotta and Joy and I can figure out a time to sit down.
But that's gotta be, then we're talking,
First full week of
this is
December.
December then, right?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm flexible.
if that works for,
prior to second Thursday of December?
right.
Okay, to keep that the same, and this is, December?
Invitations, and then you're gonna put it in a sealed envelope.
So this is all
closed
done
up, and then you're gonna,
in one day?
you can give it to Blanche in her office, and then she'll see that Emily gets it. And then the three of us will review everybody's and compile them, everybody's on this.
So I did invite you.
Yes, you get your, yeah. Everyone,
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
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 All right, so we're at set.
You don't want me to, I'm sorry,
Okay.
for these, completed forms that you decide, what to do.
I'm sorry?
The completed forms.
You want me to
we can
send out
to the trustees, or due on whatever day, just so we have something. I mean, I have it written here 11/29.
Sure, I can send it, do you want me to send the form electronically to you then as well, just so you've got it in both places?
No, just a reminder.
Just a
to
reminder,
do that,
yep.
something, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yes.
what are the evaluation dates from?
The form has spaces for dates.
Oh,
Starting in
it's this year.
This year,
So,
2018.
1/1/2018 to December 31st, 2018.
12/31, yeah.
So we submit
Can you turn right now?
Okay. So we are now at the 7 of the 2019 board meeting calendar.
So, you will notice on this sheet that I do not seem to have. So these are just setting the dates of the regular board meeting. You will notice that I have what would have normally been the meeting date in March crossed out, and I'm asking the board if it would be okay to meet the third Thursday in March rather than the second Thursday. I have to, as my husband says, be the tire wife. There's a trip that I have to go with, and it always seems to fall in that.
I know.
Is it?
We Joanna probably have a concert at school that
Okay.
night.
And we could do it before or even later. I know we've done it in the past. This is just a suggestion, so whatever works for the board, if we can do it the previous week, that's fine. Or even the last week in March, whatever works best. I don't know when spring break is either.
The last week.
Spring break is the last week.
So
I would prefer the 7th, if anybody else is okay with that.
is March 7th, 2019 okay for the March board meeting?
No problem.
March 7th? I don't know. So that's before,
Right,
that's
that
the
would be
the
the,
first Thursday.
right, that would be the first Thursday, so.
So it's 7.
Yeah, it would be the same stuff, just be a week earlier than normal. If the board is okay with that, I appreciate that very much. And then the rest are the second Thursdays for the rest of the year. I know we typically don't meet in August, that was oftentimes because people wanted to be here. We don't have to choose that right now, we can see how the rest of the year goes and then make that decision when it gets closer to that time. So I typically leave it on this. So yeah, I just need the board to
All right.
do that.
I'll make a motion to approve the
2019 board meeting calendar.
Oh, sorry. Can I use this?
Keep it.
Oh, it's hers, you gotta go right ahead, it's not mine.
That was half spoken by me, half spoken by Carlotta.
Okay, Carla, I see you seconded that.
I'll second.
Do all three.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mesa Jack,
Yes.
Monzone,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes, Kuzo,
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
So, okay, communications.
Rails letter,
There's nothing in the packet.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Public comments, non-agenda items, still no public. No need to go to executive session.
Not at this point, but I would like to also inform the board of one thing that I did forget to mention in my director's report. I received from Ralph Chinsky, village administrator, a contract for snow removal, I let Carlotta know the other day. We have to sign a contract, I have to get a certificate of insurance, but they have agreed to do snow removal, for no charge.
Wow.
So that would be a nice savings for us, because that has cost us upwards of $3,000.
Huh?
So-
For election?
They also like.
No, it's, you know, but it's funny, because it's like when the village stopped doing that a few years back, when I was here the first time, is when they stopped, they told us that they weren't gonna do it anymore, and that's why we had to go out and find it. And so now, when we asked, you know, it's different people that are working there now with different administrations, so Ralph was said, absolutely,
We
we
didn't
can do
ask
that.
them to do it for nothing, we just asked.
Yeah,
them
if they could do it,
willing
but
to
so, and I
pay.
verified with Ralph when I was talking to him about, the, you know, the 200 building, I said, I just wanna make sure that, I said, reading the contract, I don't see any price, I just wanna make sure that that's the case. And he said, there's no charge.
They
I
feel
figured that-
guilty for what they're doing to us.
Yeah, no, he was saying, you know, if for some reason they need a meeting room or whatever, they want to reciprocate.
Well, yeah,
And
you
really,
reciprocate that way.
you know, the other thing too is that it's like taking money out of one pocket and putting it into the other.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right, yeah,
it
it really
is.
is, so. So, yeah, so that was good news, so I was happy to hear that. So I'm gonna sign that contract and get that certificate of insurance sent off to him, but I did want to let the board
But
know
we'll
that.
hope for.
Since it's supposed to snow tonight,
Not
but I don't think that much.
There's no free land.
All right.
Supposed to snow tonight.
We are good, then.
Okay, I will make, adjourn it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Don't have to vote on that.
What do you want to do?
Don't have to vote on it.
We are adjourned 7:58 PM.